go?
Let's do it.
All right, man. Taberne Talks back with another session here. We got a good one today, a really good one. I got the Rookie of the Year on from KW, Rada Rann, the man of the hour, fresh off a plane from Vegas. He just came from the KW, what was the reunion, I guess they call it?
Family reunion, yep.
Family reunion, right? So I got him literally getting off of the plane. And we ushered him over here on the spot to get some feedback on, how the week went, number one. And really what caught our eye to get him on the show is how he became Rookie of the Year. That's huge in this market, right? Out of an office of what, 900?
Yes.
A lot.
Two of the top brokerages combined into one. So.
Right. So to get that is not easy, right? So, but give us some background first. How long you been in the business and what brought you to KW and all that?
Awesome. Yeah. So I've been in the business for just under a year. I got my license in April of 2023. And why I chose the Keller Williams office in South Philly, couple of things. I mean, right before I got my license, I was testing out different brokerages. So I'm commuting all the way from Bensalem. That's like a 35-minute drive.
That's not easy.
It's not easy, right?
No.
But I mean, I've interviewed a couple other brokerages, literally a couple minutes away from my house, and for some reason, I was like, okay, let me try South Philly. I know it's further away, but like, let me just try it out. Because I noticed what I did was I looked up like top brokerages near me, and Mike McCann popped up. And
of course,
I'm thinking when I go into South Philly one, like, can I be in the same team as Mike McCann? That's what I'm thinking. Right. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I got there and I realized, okay, it's not that. And so what happened is I met with Bill Kelly, who is my current productivity coach. Shout out to KW Productivity Coaching Program. We are the top productivity coaching in the region. So shout out to Bill Kelly. I wouldn't be here without him. So thank you for that. But yeah, I mean,
so he's like your mentor.
My mentor. Yeah.
Okay,
he's always there for you. But in a sense, like he's not gonna be the type of coach that's gonna give you all the answers. You gotta work for it. You gotta show him that like you want it, and then he's gonna help you. So that's just a tip I have for any agent that wants to get into the coaching program.
Yep.
He's the type of coach that's gonna give you he's not gonna give you the fish. He's gonna teach you how to fish, right? So that way you could take what you learn and apply it within your own style.
So you've been in less than 1 year.
Less than 1 year, yep.
That's crazy, right? I mean, we've had some new agents on the podcast, like really new agents, but not like that, right? So you take the cake there of really going above and beyond in less than 1 year, right? So you got into KW, you picked KW Philly, obviously. Now they just combined with KW Philadelphia, right?
Yep.
So you guys are under one big umbrella. We've had a few agents from your office on, which is great. So you're full-time, right? You're not a part-time agent.
Full-time. I do run another business. It's a self-defense business. I coach boxing, kickboxing, and Muay Thai. But I could kind of control my schedule with that one as well. So it's kind of like doing both businesses full-time.
Wow. And you run that business it's like your business?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So this guy can kick our you-know-what too. So
Rambo.
Right. He's got Rambo hat on. I mean, I knew when I first saw him, we're not messing with him. And then, like I said, he's straight off of a plane right now, running on no sleep, I'm sure, and all adrenaline. How many agents were over in this KW reunion?
Yeah, there was a lot. Almost every day, walking around in the convention center, I saw a couple agents in my office. So really dope, a very cool experience. I mean, you're surrounded by agents that are striving for greatness. Anybody that's there that's willing to pay that much money to go to that event, they are serious about their business. And that's the type of people you want to surround yourself with, right? So what's the quote? It's like, you are the 5 people you hang around the most. And that's always been the key difference in me, is that I noticed that and I cherish that. Like all of my peers, that they're all striving for greatness, and those are the type of people you want to surround yourself with. So being in a convention center with everybody that's striving for the same goal as yours, you feed off that energy and you kind of take that energy back with you home. And then if you're smart, you work a little harder, you work a little bit smarter.
And I guess they give you tips and things like that on what to do in the market. So I'm sure you brought home a lot of the stuff that you're going to try to apply now.
Of course, yep.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
So listen, we brought you on because you're Rookie of the Year, right? What's a daily schedule for a person like you, starting in the morning and going to the night, in order to achieve that type of success in 1 year, in less than 1 year?
Yeah, there really is no secret. I mean, I'm the same as everyone else. We all have the same 24 hours, so it's just a matter of like how you utilize that. But I mean, for me, I'm not the type of person that get a lot of sleep anyway. So like I function on very low sleep. I wake up around 5 in the morning, and what I do is, I'll meditate a little bit, kind of clear my head. Then I'll take a cold shower. I'll eat breakfast. By the time all that is done, it's about maybe 6:30. Then I kind of prepare myself. So with me, I do about 2 hours of calls in the morning. These are cold calls, so I'm calling expires and
Do
FISBOs,
you do that from your house or you go to the office?
a little bit of both. If I can't make it into the office, I'm literally all I'm doing is laying down on my couch, got my coffee on the side of me, and I'm just making these calls for 2 hours straight.
Just 2 hours of straight up cold calls, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, yep. And then after that, let's say I get an appointment. Okay, cool. I'll set that as soon as I can. But let's say I don't get any because a lot of times it is a numbers game. So you got to just make a lot of calls. I'll do another hour, 2 hours later in the afternoon or evening time.
Of cold calls.
Yeah,
So you don't stop. I mean,
I
it's
don't
cold
stop.
call all day,
Yeah,
every day, basically.
all day, every day, Monday through Sunday. And it's not gonna be easy. It's simple, but it's not easy, right? It's simple because you're doing the same thing over and over again, right? But it's not easy because you're doing the same thing over and over again. So it can get discouraging, especially if you're not getting any appointments, right? So there's been a lot of times where I'm calling for every single day, weeks, couple weeks in, I'm not getting any appointments. But there's been times where I get like 2 or 3 in a week. So it really depends. It's a numbers game at the end of the day. You just got to stay consistent.
Wow. So I commend you, man. I mean, that's not easy. A lot of people don't like making cold calls. I ask guests every week that come on here, do you like it? Do you not like it? And most people don't like it, but they say you got to do it anyway
Mhm.
in order to survive. How many deals do you think you've gotten off of just cold calling? I mean,
Yeah,
what's
most of my business have been from cold calls. I mean, there was one where it was a neighbor that saw my for sale sign and she reached out to me. That was me coming back from the Poconos. She called me like 8 in the morning, and I'm like kind of confused, like, oh, who is this person? And she's like, hey, I saw your sign. I really want to sell my home. Can you help me out? And
it was
so
like out of nowhere.
out of nowhere,
That's a
yeah,
good feeling.
very good feeling, especially when you're coming back from a short trip, and now you're like, okay, nice, like I
Yeah.
could come home to a new listing.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, for me, I'm 100% listing focused. I don't really have the patience for buyers. I mean, I know it's something where I do have to tap into. That way, I could kind of expand my business. But pretty much, I am 100% listing focused.
So that's where the action is, right? I mean, the listings is what the agents want nowadays. That's where the that's where the revenue is. Obviously, that's where you're going to survive in this tough market. I guess running the buyers around right now is just not there because of the inventory, right? Is low.
Yeah, could be that. Could be a couple other things. I mean, I worked with a couple buyers in the past, and like, um, I showed them maybe eight or 10 homes, and for me, it's like because I run another business as well. It's like it's harder for me to kind of drive around and show these my clients homes.
So another accolade here that Rada got that we did some research on is he's part of the Agent Leadership Council, right? So I think this just happened recently. That's huge. Again, in an office that is not a small little mom and pop shop here. You're talking about a mega company. So how does one get on that?
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, it wasn't something where I reached out for. I mean, I was just kind of asked by my coach, Bill Kelly. He thought that I was going to be a good fit, and I met with the CEO now. He was a team leader before, but now he's CEO. His name is Frank Genzano, who I also owe a lot of my success to. He's been always been there for me. So I kind of, interviewed Frank, and he kind of told me what I was gonna do and what I was getting myself into. And I'm like, you know what? I think this is gonna be great. It's gonna be good to get out of my comfort zone, and that's always been what I was a very good. I've always been good at doing that, was just getting outside of my comfort zone, even if I didn't want to. I was always like, okay, because I always knew there was a certain pattern that I always knew in my life was like, you do the same thing over and over again, you're gonna get the same result. So anytime you step out of that comfort zone, you never know what the result you're gonna get is, but more often than not, you're gonna learn something from that.
I got to tell you, sitting next to this guy is motivating me right now. I mean, I'm getting juiced up right now. I actually might start making some cold calls with you.
Oh,
I don't know. I mean, I feel power. Like you are really fired up. I probably coming from this meeting too that you just went to for the last week. But I mean, if you could feel the energy that this guy has, you're trainable, right? You want to be trained. You want to listen to your mentors. You want to do good, right? You're not going against the machine and you don't feel entitled. You're coming from a place of, I'm willing to learn and whatever I need to do in order to make it work, I'm going to make it work.
Yeah, yeah, and a big part of my success has always been my ability to just be grateful and practice gratuity. I think that sometimes for me at least I strive for greatness and I'm always working and I'm always grinding that like sometimes I forget to stop, take a breath and like enjoy what I have now. So
Yeah.
being grateful is a very big part of my success. I think just reminding myself that okay, I have a car I could drive, I have a nice warm place I could stay in, I have food, I don't have to worry about food and things like that. So when you're just grateful like that, life can be a little bit more peaceful for you.
Yeah, that's nice. So listen, we also looked up and you've been on different panels, I guess, of speakers giving prospecting tips, right? So what are the best prospecting tips that you see right now for agents that you think they need to be doing in order? And again, we're listening to a guy here who's new in the business. So, if you're listening in right now, which I hope you are, because this guy is a world of energy, um, you know, listen to the tips that he gives because he probably could teach a lot of the veterans that aren't doing what they should be doing in order to be successful in one of the hardest markets that I've seen ever. And I've been in it a long time myself. So give us some prospecting tips so that what you've seen works and what you think would work for agents that are struggling right now.
Yeah, my prospecting tip, I mean, first you got to find a program that's for you, right? So there's so many different programs out there that you can utilize to make these calls. Like, so they'll provide you a script or I mean, a list of data of people to call. These are expires. It could be FISBOs. So there's a lot of them out there. I mean, you got My Plus Leads, Redex, Vocan, um, espresso agent. You got so many other programs and they all cost different amounts. So find one that fits your budget. Now, once you got your program, now you got to develop a system, right? So for me, my personal system, again, like I said, right, I make about 2 hours of calls in the morning. And that's no negotiation. Like no matter what you have to do, no matter what part of, your the life you're in, you got to make these calls, right? So 2 hours in the morning and then an hour, 2 hours later in the
Are they
afternoon.
are
or
they
evening time.
leads that came in from these different sites that you're talking about, or are they just straight up really cold calls, like almost out of the phone book?
Yeah, a little bit of both, right? So with these programs, sometimes they could be warmer leads, sometimes they could be cold leads, but a lot of times it's just it's again it's a numbers game. So these programs they'll give you maybe a hundred, 200, couple hundred people to call, and a lot of times it's gonna be wrong numbers. They're not gonna pick up. But let's say you on average you call about 150 people. On average, about maybe 10 will pick up. The rest are gonna be wrong numbers, or they're just gonna hang up on you, right? So out of the 10, 6 of them is probably gonna one say they're not interested. Two, they're probably gonna curse you out. How many times where and this was recent, this was 2 weeks ago where I was making calls in the office and the dude was like, he was so angry. He was like, I'm gonna find you, I'm gonna bash your head. I'm like, I wish this dude would try, right? He's gonna
Did I not tell you this guy was going to bring the fire today? Did I not tell you that the motivation was going to be there? Did I not tell you? Keep talking.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So you gotta have thick skin in this game. I mean, it's people are gonna curse you out. You gotta just kind of roll with the punches. And I made the mistake because my natural instinct is, I mean, I just kind of laughed. I thought it was a little funny. It made him even more angry.
Right,
So
right.
I just hung up. But yeah. So
You got to have super thick skin. No doubt about it.
super thick skin. Don't take it personal. Because they don't know you, you don't know them, right? So they can't really judge you. You can't judge them off of how they judge you. They don't know you. So out of the 10 people that do pick up, 6 again, they're gonna curse you out. They're gonna hang up. Now you're left with 4. These are your opportunities to meet with the homeowner and get the contract signed. Out of the 4, 1 is probably gonna cancel. They're gonna flake. Now you're left with 3 to really earn their business and get that contract signed. So again, this is not an everyday thing. Sometimes you don't get anybody, right? So you just gotta stay consistent and keep making those calls.
Because you're going to have a lucky day,
You're gonna
right?
have a lucky day.
It's consistency. What we do every day is not a science. It's not like every day I come in and, someone asks me, well, how are you successful? It's just a consistent thing, right? I do it every day. I
Mhm.
talk to realtors every day. I talk to clients every day. I find out who needs a mortgage because there's always someone out there that needs a mortgage or needs to buy a house,
Mhm.
period. Every day.
Mhm.
You just got to find them,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
It's weeding through the people to find them and knowing people. And of course, a lot of people over the last year and you're meeting a lot of people. You're doing a lot of networking too, I'm sure, right?
Mhm.
We're going out and doing all that stuff too, or no? Or you?
Always, always, no matter where I'm at, I'm always looking for the opportunity to network, whether it's at the grocery store, whether it's maybe even at the
Yeah.
bar, so I was on a couple of dating apps, even networking on a dating app,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
whatever way,
Right, right.
whatever way you can freaking
And
network, just network.
and that Rambo hat helps
Yeah.
on the
Hey, I was in Vegas and I was walking on the strip and so many people like, hey, Rambo, Rambo.
yeah.
They don't even know me, but they're just saying it because it sticks out, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
find your niche and be you. Don't try to be anybody else, just be you. And obviously do what works and kind of make it your own style as well.
If you look at Rada's social media page, he has a lot of videos that he does. He's a big video guy. I think he's already bought into the fact that you got to be a video guy. Hence why I'm doing a podcast here every week too, because I think right now people more than ever need to hear, from the people that are doing it every day, right? On video, not just on an email or a text message or a phone call. They actually want to hear, eye to eye what's going on, right? So, but I see a lot of you doing a lot of video, which is great. You're doing like house videos, tours, right? You're doing personal, just prospecting videos, videos of you, just doing your job every day and what's going on in the industry. How important is that? And what do you think you get a lot of success from doing those videos, or is that something that is non-negotiable that you do every day, or what's the story there?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like at first, because I never liked making videos.
Who does, right?
Yeah,
Right.
who does? I mean,
Right.
I have to feel it to want to do
Sure.
it. Like I have to be creative, right?
Yeah.
So, but my coach, I mean, he sees that my business is kind of growing and he wants me to take it to that next level. So he's kind of made it basically like a homework assignment. I feel like I'm back in
You got
school.
to do it, right?
Yeah, I've got to do it. So I try to aim for at least one video a week. Depending on how it goes, like, I want to make sure it's like I mix up the content so it's never the same thing over and over again. But yeah, that's kind of been my key. I mean, if I feel like it was successful because I've had a couple people reach out to me, a couple of them wanted to be an agent, a couple just wanted to talk a little bit more about that, and eventually over time, I think that you'll earn their business. But it's not something where it's gonna happen overnight. Like so, what I'm learning now too is real estate is all long term, and it's not really that short term.
Got it.
And
Right.
sometimes that could be a trap because we want that instant gratification, but real estate isn't that. Real estate is you do the work now and maybe in the next couple months, maybe even a year, now you're gonna earn that business, but you gotta stay with it. You gotta follow up.
How many of these newer agents do it's funny that you say that. How many of these newer agents that come in to, let's just say KW, because I'm sure they hire like crazy, right? You see them come in every week because they're big into recruiting. How many of those agents are coming in and you still see it in this day and age and in this market? They want instant gratification. Is that pretty much all of them right now, or is that or who's willing to do the work?
It's pretty much all of them. And it's funny because when I first got into the business, I mean, I had my license in April, but I started coming even before I had my license, so around January. And so, I mean, when I first got into it, I don't see a lot of the same people that joined with me. There's probably only a couple people. I mean, shout out to Rodolph. I mean, he started with me, Anika. All these guys, they're staying in the business and, they're doing very well. It's so really cool to see the people that started with you, that's still with you. So, guys like that really push me and inspire me to do more.
And then you see a lot that drop out, unfortunately. I'm sure.
Yeah, unfortunately. And sometimes, I mean, you still keep in touch with them. You try and talk with them, try and get them back into business, but sometimes they need that. Sometimes they need a little bit more motivation and inspiration. But yeah, it's definitely it sucks. But what they say, real estate is 87% failure rate.
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
87% failure rate. And I think loan officers is the same situation. There's definitely a high percentage of loan officers that, come in for the instant gratification too and want to make a lot of money fast. And if they don't, they're just out.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because this is a career and it's not an overnight thing that we can just do and say, let's just make $1 million this year and be done.
Yeah.
Right. Which everybody wants to do that. Right.
Yeah.
So, all right, good. So this guy's on, this guy's cooking over here. He has his stuff together. He knows what he needs to do, which is great. Some qualities that so let's say, because I'm a loan officer, right? So I've never done the realtor side. So what qualities would you say I would need to possess in order to become a realtor? Or what qualities does a realtor need to possess nowadays to survive in 2024 versus, another market?
Yeah, I like that question because there's no real blueprint. Obviously, I mean, there's some qualities and traits that you really need, but it's it's nothing fancy, right? So as long as you're consistent, you're disciplined, you're willing to work, you're willing to learn, you're coachable, you can make it. Like I'm the same as anybody else. I'm not different. So anybody that's watching and that's listening, just as long as you consistent, you discipline, you put in the work, you're not afraid to fail, you're gonna make it.
This guy's hungry, man. I like it. He's like the Rocky of the, he just got in. He's hungry, and you got to be hungry. You gotta be all in.
You gotta want it. Yep.
You gotta want it. And if you don't, then you're not gonna make it. I hate to say it, unless you have your father's a $1 million realtor himself, and he's giving you his business or something like that, which is not happening in this day and age, but used to happen in the past. But you got to be really hungry.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm sure you're responding to text messages and emails and phone calls all day, on the weekend, nights.
Hey, listen, in Vegas, like I thought I was gonna just be pure learning and fun, but no, I was working too. It's like I feel like it's a 24/7 job, right? So when they're texting you, you want to make sure that you reach back out to them. This is your sellers, these are your clients, and it's definitely a full-time job. It's like you gotta be on your phone 24/7 type of thing.
I mean, which is great. It is a 24/7 job, and I know we beat that in everybody's head every week. It's got to be 24/7. You got to be 24. We're not lying. If we were lying, then give us the blueprint, and there is no blueprint. You got to be just available. You got to respond to people. You got to communicate. You got to be professional, and you are too. I can tell. So that helps also. In being in the front line of a very rough market. So you say you like to do a lot of listings, but I'm sure, you see some buyers that come through. These interest rates have not been the prettiest, as you know. What do you see? Is that dictating your business, or are you just saying, I don't care what the interest rates are? It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, the interest rate is going to be what it's going to be. And you got to just kind of maneuver your way through it and work with it. And you'll be all right. I mean, yeah, it's like you can't really change the interest rate. So, but you still gotta be, you still gotta work for your buyer's best interest.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
You can't lie to your buyer and be like, hey, this is the best market we had. Let's go buy a house. Right. You gotta inform them, and it's up on them to make that decision. Do they want to buy this house? Knowing the information you just shared with them.
Right. I mean, that's the problem right now, is that I think you have a lot of loan officers and realtors that are telling buyers that this is the best market ever and you need to buy now. You got to watch out what you say.
Yeah.
That could come back and burn you, because you don't know where this market is going to go. You don't know where the interest rates are going to go. And you could easily, coach someone into thinking that this is the best thing that ever is happening right now. And the whole thing could blow up in your face down the road. Right. And you don't want that, because every deal is your reputation. You're only as good as your last deal. I hate to say it. Like, every month I start from zero. On March 1st, this month I start from zero, even though how many deals I might have closed in February and how great. One deal messes up your whole reputation, right? So you start from zero every month. You do the right thing. You tell the people the right thing. You be honest, and you'll make it. So that's my feeling there.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, being real, being authentic, that's what people like. And as long as because you owe your clients their fiduciary duties, right? So everything you do with your client has to be to their benefit. You gotta be honest with them. You gotta let them know all the facts, and you gotta trust that everything is gonna happen the way it's supposed to happen. And that's it. That's the key.
Right. So I made some notes, which I do every week, on some of the things that are happening in the business this week that I saw. Interest rates did shoot up over the last 2 weeks. If you've been following the market, if you're a buyer in the market right now, interest rates were, in the low sixes about 3 weeks ago. We shot through the ceiling over the last 2 weeks due to the inflation report coming out saying that inflation is really hot. We saw rates in the low sevens at the beginning of this week. And it seems now that there were a few reports that are starting to say that the economy really isn't as good as what they're saying. And there aren't as many jobs that were created. And now rates over the last 3 days have started to come down. And I see rates again in the sixes coming up on the 30-year fixed, which helps people get off the fence. And I'm sure helps people, listing agents like you, because people then start to think that they want to sell, right? So they see these rates start to come down, and then they say, okay, fine, I'm going to list now. I think it's time to do that. They are predicting that the first rate cut is going to happen in June, and then there may be another rate cut by the end of the year by the Fed. Is that a guarantee? No. but all eyes are pointing to June as being the first rate cut. If that happens, I think you're going to see a spike in business that's coming up for the summer for agents like you that are hungry, for loan officers that are hanging in it and are surviving in a tough market and continue to do what they do. Another thing that I saw this week were a lot of banks. I got 3 separate deals from banks that specifically shot down people the week of closing, which is terrible. You go 30, 40 days into process, and then these banks come to the buyers and tell them that we can't do the deal, right? We didn't verify your income correctly. We don't know what we're doing. So you got to watch out right now. I preach this constantly every week. You got to watch out. You make sure you go with who you know. If Rada tells you to go with a local lender that he knows, go with that local lender. Don't just pick some guy off the internet, that you don't know, or a major bank that you don't know, because it could blow up in your face, and then you risk losing your deposit. You could get sued. Things could happen because you don't close that week that everybody was supposed to close. It could be a domino effect. So, we saved one where, we took it literally from start to finish in 10 days, which we don't preach that we like to do, right? I mean, it's not something that I had to stop everything. All the deals went to the side because I knew the realtor personally, and the people were in a bad jam, and we jumped through hoops and got the deal closed in 10 days.
Wow.
I mean, does Greed Tree like to preach to do that? Probably not, but you save somebody's butt if you have to. But these are the kind of things that I'm seeing that, you got to watch, what's going on. With you're doing a lot of business in Philly. How? Philly's a tough market, man. Like Ben Salem's great. That's an awesome market up there right now. The main line's awesome, right? The suburbs are on fire. If you go to Delaware County, media is cooking, right? You go to Jersey and it's flying, but then you go into the city itself where we are, and there's a lot of listings that are on the market. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of buyers, and people are begging you to basically buy their house here. How are you selling in Philly?
Yeah, I mean, it's
tough, right?
It's really tough. It's not easy. Nothing is given to you in this business. You got to work for everything. You got to have that grit, right? So it's not a clean process. Sometimes you got to not be afraid to get down and dirty. And I think that's what it was for me. I was doing everything I could to really get the home.
And you're selling in tough neighborhoods too.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you got to want it. And you got to want it more than anybody else. So whatever it takes, you got to get the job done, right? So I was doing door hangers, door knocking, flyers, calling, reaching out to my past clients. I'm doing everything I can to get the home sold. And that's how you got to make it in the business.
Yeah. I mean, I saw some of his listings that he sold, and they were really in I'm not going to say bad neighborhoods. I'm just going to say tough neighborhoods. The buyers that you found on these properties, were they buying cash? Were they coming through with mortgages, or what are you seeing?
Yeah, most of them was mortgages.
Mortgages.
Yep, no
Okay.
cash.
Okay. All right. So, and in the Philly market to get a mortgage, it still can be done. Like, people are saying, oh, well, you're lending in Philly. Of course we're lending in Philly. Why wouldn't we be? We've been lending in Philly all along, from day one. I do a lot of business with your office and agents in your office, and in different parts of the city. And, we're still lending, just because it's a city. I think everybody's a little bit afraid. Oh, well, the city has this going on and that going on, maybe crime or whatever it may be, and maybe I shouldn't buy there right now. But then you see young guys like you that are on the street cranking, saying, I don't care. And you're still selling your listings, right? I mean, it's amazing. But kudos to you for really going out and still going on the front line and saying, I don't care what's going on, and just attacking the market.
Yeah, thank you, man. And I think what helps me with that is my boxing background, right? So boxing never really came easy to me.
Because he beats up people. You know what I mean? If you're not going, Rada, you got a problem. Yeah. All right, that's it.
Yeah, I fight all my clients that don't want to work with me. I fight.
Yeah, you fight them all. I knew it. Of course.
But having that boxing background, what it did was, because it never came easy to me, it forced me to, there was so many times where I wanted to quit, but I always came back. Why? Because I knew I couldn't live with myself, knowing that I failed, and I stopped and I stepped away from it. You're going to fail, but you got to come back at it. And so boxing is just like in real estate, how you're making a lot of calls, you're doing the same thing over and over again. That's what boxing is too. You're throwing the same punch thousands of times. So what I did was, I was able to apply everything I learned from boxing, doing the same thing, being consistent, being disciplined, and transferring over to the more mental side of real estate. And that was been the game changer.
Yeah, I think physical uh, exercise, let's say, is a crucial part in uh, surviving in the real estate world. Listen, I'm not saying you have to work 2 hours a day every day and be a maniac if you don't have to. But I think getting some type of physical exercise every day in this business that we do is good because we need it because of the stuff that we go through. That mentally and not just to look good. I think for mentally to feel good, you should be doing some type of physical exercise, whether it be a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour. Get something in where I say, at least if you can break a sweat every day, just some type of sweat, you'll feel good. It burns the stress off and it keeps us going to the next day so that we feel good.
And yeah, to add on to that, I mean, there was a class in the family reunion which talked about like how protein is very important for the body,
Yeah.
not just for the muscle, but for your mind too, right? And so real estate is all mental, right? So when you have a clear mind, because mindset is everything, everything else follows, but that has to be the foundation has to be the mindset.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, this guy's a wealth of energy. So all this stuff you think that you took back from this conference, how much of it do you think you're actually going to use?
I'm going to use every bit of it. I took notes. I recorded almost every session. So yeah, I'm going to go back when I have some time and play the voice memos and add on to the notes and just apply everything, right? Because it's different if you're just listening and getting the information. But if you're applying it as well, okay, now you're going to go somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. You got to actually apply it. You could take a book of notes, but if you don't do anything with it, I know loan officers that all they do is take notes all day, but they don't do anything with it. It's like, and then they ask questions of, well, how do I do this? What do you mean? You took notes, right? So you got to go back to the notes. You actually got to look at the notes because that's how you achieve what you need to achieve.
Right.
Right. You're going to have goals. I mean, you guys write down your number yearly. Like, how about this? What's your prediction for yourself for the rest of the year? What do you think? What are your numbers? Do you know?
Numbers. I mean, my goal is to at least double what I did in 2023, which I could see that happening. I mean, I already got a couple things lined up in the pipeline right now. I got one under contract. I got a couple actives right now. So as long as I continue to do what I'm supposed to do, maybe add on a couple new things that I learned from family reunion. Yeah, I mean, I could see it happening where I'll double my business.
Right. I mean, who says they're going to double their business in one of the hardest markets right? I mean, a lot of these realtors are running for the hills right now. Loan officers too, saying, this is just too tough for me. I got to get out. No one's saying I'm going to double. I mean, it's really tough to, you got to have that written down. You got to have that vision every day to say, I'm going to do good in a bad market. I don't care.
Yeah. Having that vision is very important. You got to see it. You got to manifest it. And I know it sounds probably cliche. Everybody's always saying that manifestation, but I believe in that. I believe that you got to see it first, right? Before you can go towards that goal, you got to know the goal. You got to visualize it. You got to vision it. And then it goes from there, right? So you got to visualize that.
So one of the last questions I want to ask, because we're getting a lot of this, I do a lot of people that are calling me saying, should I rent or buy right now? A lot of people don't know if they should buy right now because they don't know what's going to happen in the market, right? They don't know, and I don't either, right? If I had the crystal ball, I would be, on an island somewhere, drinking. So I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be sitting here and 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, but, so I don't know what's going to happen either. I always try to be, positive in thinking that we're going to have a good market and that, at the end of the year, things are going to look a lot rosier once we get through the election and the country hopefully stabilizes a little bit and not all this chaos that's going on right now. But I don't know. So a lot of people are saying, well, should I rent for the next year and then maybe buy in 2025? Do you think 2025 is going to be a better year than 2024? Like, what are you telling them? Of course, as a loan officer, I don't know if it's better to rent because I don't know too much about the renting world. We only care about if you really want to do a mortgage. So I can only tell you, what the interest rates are and, what your debt to income ratio is and is it smart enough for you to buy right now? But what do you think?
Yeah. In my personal opinion, I believe that it's always better to buy than it is to rent. No matter even how the market is, I think that, you can always refinance and things like that. Right. But, renting, the money's going down the drain, right? Let's say you rent a place out $1,000 a month. In 1 year, you're spending $12,000. That's not going anywhere. Whereas if you buy now, in that 1 year, your property may go up. And now if you want to sell, you could sell and make a little bit of profit at least. But yeah, I'm always against renting if you don't have to,
Right. If you have to, you have to. I
Mhm.
mean, there's a lot of situations where people don't have the money to buy, which there are grants out there and things like that that can help you buy, if you don't have the money nowadays. Um, but if you can't, you can't. You might not
Mhm.
have the job set up. You might, you may have to rent.
Mhm.
But you're right. You should explore your possibilities to buy, because then you are building equity. You own something. You're appreciating an asset that you can use. If you ever leave that property, you can rent it out to someone else. You make rental income off of it, right? What are you seeing in the multi-unit market? Is that still exploding over here with the 2 units and the 3 units and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of information on that, but I
Okay.
mean,
Okay.
I'm sure it could be kind of similar to the family
Well,
thing.
yeah, but you know what it is? We see a lot of people buying multi-units where they live in one unit, they rent out the other unit, and they get the rental income, right?
Mhm.
And it
Yeah.
helps them qualify to
Mhm.
buy something more.
Mhm.
Which is a big one. Even on a triplex, I live in one of the units. I rent out the other 2 units. I get rental income on both of those units. It helps me qualify to buy a bigger
Mhm.
property. And then if I ever leave that property, I still have all that rental income coming in if I keep it.
Mhm.
So that's a big house hack right now.
Mhm.
How much time a day do you work out? What do you do? 2 hours a day? Come on,
Uh,
man. Come on.
so, contrary to popular belief, I mean, I am a gym rat. I love the gym, but I don't stay no more than 1 hour.
That's good.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I could get it done in like 45 minutes, right? I like to go in, get it done, and get out, right? So that's kind of been my goal. Like, and I'll do maybe 5 days out of the week. I'll go to the gym and I'll mix it up. Sometimes I'll do lift, depending on what my goals are, right? So right now, if I want to stay more sharp with the boxing, I'll start with the boxing first and finish off with a little bit of lifting weights after the session. So kind of able to kind of juggle both sides, right? So I want to be athletic, but at the same time, keep that strength as well and
Yeah.
have that cardio that you need as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. That's great. I mean, that's why he looks like the way he does after coming from Vegas after a week. I would have tubes in my arms and being rolled in a chair right now. My kids would say that you're a disgrace, Dad. You can't even drink anymore.
Oh man,
You're
like
an old man, all this stuff.
I
So,
went crazy with the food. I ate so much good food, like from fried stuff to
I'm sure. I'm sure.
yeah, I mean it was so
Was
good.
it hot over there right now, or is
It
it?
was actually pretty cold. Like the last day, and when I told you like the flight might delay, it was windy. Like I was supposed to go to Area 15. Is a really cool. I don't even know what the heck you call it. It's like so many different activities in that place. But yeah, I was supposed to go right, and because I bought the 2-day pass, and I did the first one. I still got to go use the second one, and it closed because it was so windy. So
And cold.
yeah, cold. Yeah,
And you wouldn't think Vegas is cold.
yeah,
You think Vegas is like this beach, and you're in the desert. Not a beach, but you're in the desert. So
yeah,
it's hot.
yeah, yeah.
But I guess the certain times of year it still gets cold there too.
Yeah, and I mean, overall though, I mean, I do like that weather. I mean, in Philly, you got the really cold winters and things like that. I
I
don't think
know.
Vegas could get that cold. But
No.
yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
today is actually pretty nice. Like I was surprised. I
It's gonna be
came
the
back.
60s today.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
it's-
nice.
If it would just get a little bit warmer than this even and stay, I would love it.
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
that's my
this-
type of weather.
Yeah, this cold weather is really, and this dreary rainy weather is terrible.
Yeah.
So leave us with words of wisdom before we go, man. What's we brought you on because you are the man of the hour right now in the city. I mean, if you look him up, his name is everywhere. We had a coming soon post this week, and it seems like everybody was excited to hear you come on today because they know you're doing it. So, what are the words of wisdom for everyone here going in to be successful? I guess.
Yeah. Before I give you that, can I give one more shout out?
Please.
Because if it wasn't for this guy, I wouldn't be here. His name is Saeed. I treat him like a best friend. He's been a mentor for me, and he's somewhere traveling in a different country right now. This dude is crazy with a ton of knowledge. But I mean, literally, I did not want to be in real estate. But he was a client that I was training on a consistent basis. And every time I seen him, hey, you should do real estate. Did you start yet? Did you start studying? I said, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. And it's been 2 months straight that I'm like, okay, I kept putting it off. And one day I'm like, maybe I should listen to this guy. He knows a lot of stuff. And I'm like, okay, took the test, failed it a little bit a couple of times and finally passed. And ever since then is like, I owe everything to him because
this guy's full of gratitude too. That's the other thing. Like he's giving shout outs to people the whole episode here, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't hear that.
Mm-hmm.
No one gives a shout out to anybody nowadays. Everybody's in it for themselves, right? What did I do? I closed 400 deals this year. Great. Who do I owe it to? Me. I mean,
Mm.
it's ridiculous. Of course you don't owe it to yourself because someone got you there.
Mhm.
Someone got you into the business and they made you who you are.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
that's it.
That's a big part of my success too, is like I never forget where I came from, right? I came from very humble beginnings. Family didn't have anything. They escaped the Khmer Rouge, if you guys know what that is, right? I'm Cambodian, right? So between the years of 1975 to 79, there was a huge killing spree, like a massacre. And my family was fortunately and was able to avoid that, but walked from Cambodia to Thailand and, living in Cambodia at this time, living with one spoon of rice every single day. So that humble upbringing really drives me, and knowing that, like, okay, whatever I experience, even though it's still important, like everybody got their own problems and it's still important, you can't compare that. You can't hold a candle to that with your family who's been through so much. So that's been a part of my success to just remind myself, like, okay, whatever I'm going through, maybe it's a bad day at work or whatever, maybe a client yelled at me, whatever, is like, okay, it's all right. You wake up another day and you make it better.
You know what it is? You came from nothing, right?
Mm.
So when you come from nothing, and I'm not putting you down, it's actually better.
Mm.
It's better to come from nothing, right? Because that makes you appreciate where you are in the business, and when you get the successes that you're getting, you appreciate it. Versus if you came from a lot, which I'm not putting on the people that are rich, whatever, that's great for you. But if you came from a lot, it's tougher for you to appreciate and be hungry because you already have something to fall back on. Versus if you don't, and you come from a place where I don't care, I got nothing to lose because I've already seen the worse than this, right? That's actually living. Then it's a different story. So I love that you just said that. Really good.
Thank you.
Really inspiring.
Thank you, Alex. And I'll leave off on this. This is my favorite quote, and I think this resonates so much with me, and I hope it resonates with anybody else that's watching this video. I'm not even sure who said this quote, but I keep repeating it. A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. That's my favorite quote.
I love it. And how do you correlate that? Like, how do you break that down?
Yeah, so you're not gonna get better when life is easy, right? You're not gonna learn as much when life is easy, right? So when you're going through it, when you're failing, when you're struggling, but you're learning from it, you're failing forward. You become a skilled sailor, right? So that's what it is. Like if a sailor was in a sea that there was no waves or currents, how can he be a better sailor from that when it's not challenging him, right? So you got to step outside that comfort zone. You got to challenge yourself, but you got to be willing and being okay with failure. Then that's where it's at. That's how you improve.
Yep. This guy left us with a bomb here. I mean, these are bombs being dropped. Right? If you don't listen to this episode, I never want to talk to you again. Actually, you're done. You're out. All right. I don't care who you are. I'm finished. Even if my own family's listening. If you don't listen to this show, I'm done with you too. All right. That's how I feel, because that was awesome. I appreciate you coming on. You really rocked it. And I think that you're going to be a huge success. Continue to be a success. You already are. I think you're going to continue to be a success if you stick to what you're doing and believe in what you're saying.
Thank you, Alex.
And good luck with everything, too.
Oh, man. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Thanks again. And I'll see you guys soon.